Morning.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, man. Come in.
Is it rolling?
Yeah.
Good.
So I'm here in Ronin Chamonix with my friend Jono, who's been building skis here for how long?
Almost 10 years now.
He's built this brand up completely by himself. So tell us a little bit more about it, kind of what's the ethos behind the brand?
I think I just started making skis initially as a hobby. I became really inspired to deliver a high performance, experience and tool for people. And then as I got down the line, I started asking my questions: if I was going to do this and do it properly, what would really inspire me? And so I started focusing on the sustainability and replacing traditional composites or plastics with more sustainable options, as long as I felt that they only added to the performance of the ski. And I have two construction types. One, an ultralight setup if you were going to focus on ski touring, or you're someone who liked a really low weight ski that's easier to swing around. And then I have a heavier construction type, which I think falls more in mid-market weight range. The big difference being that as you add mass to a ski, you usually get more stability. But my mid-weight or heavier weight ski is something that a bigger guy would choose, or someone who was just going to go downhill. And like I say, the lighter construction for ski touring or very light skiers. And today, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to build you an ultralight 108, right?
Yeah, I've decided to go for the 108 because that's the sort of ski that I imagine having the most amount of fun on from his range. We're going to do a full build of skis, right, which takes 2 days?
Yeah, normally 2 days.
So it's 1 day of basically putting the sandwich together and then putting it in the press and then the finishing touches afterwards, right?
Exactly.
So why don't we just talk about the ingredients that are going to go into the ski? So this is all the constituent ingredients minus the epoxy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, tell me what's here. And
So we have ultra thick 1.8 millimeter race base, the hardest available. It's going to last considerably longer than a mass produced ski because I've chosen it to do so. Without pointing fingers, I think unfortunately a lot of the industry, there's a certain amount of design obsolescence. Choosing softer materials so that skis wear out quicker, so that you have to buy them sooner. Paired with that, 2.2 millimeter thick and 2.5 millimeter wide edges should also outlast the composites in the ski by years. So you can service them as much as possible. It should take more rock strikes and more abuse, especially in a place like Chamonix where we have a lot of
just
mixed terrain.
Everywhere you go, you hit a rock bar. Yeah.
So like I said, we're going to cut that, attach those edges to it, and then we're going to start working on your cores. And your cores are made up of ultra lightweight balsa wood in the center, and then wider and denser albazia. The albazia is on the outside of the core, just again to support your edges and make sure that if you hit a rock, that energy doesn't break it and end the life of the ski. And rather than using plastic sidewalls, which traditionally are around 2 millimeters thick, I use a 7 millimeter bamboo sidewall. Bamboo is actually, its strength to density ratio is as high as concrete. And with that extra thickness, with the 7 mil of bamboo, you get incredible energy transfer from your boot into the ski edge, and so it increases edge hold on ice and hard conditions. And likewise, if you then hit something, that it protects it considerably better than plastic. And then sinking into the ski to make sure that your screws don't tear out, we are going to drop in a bamboo insert.
Yeah, so this is the insert we were talking about before. That's super cool.
Once we've thinned your cores out, which is what gives it its stiffness profile, we're going to wrap it in beneath the core. We're going to do 1 layer of carbon fiber, and then it's woven as one, but there's 2 layers of flax fiber there. Again, one off the positive 45 degree and one negative 45 degree.
So it's crisscrossing basically.
A biax weave. And what that does is it gives your ski its torsional rigidity. Right?
Yeah.
It also, like I said before, flax is so good at absorbing vibration. It kind of negates the negative effect of the carbon. coming up with this really lightweight, super damp ski. And then the top of the ski, we run triax carbon fiber, so all 3 of those layers woven together, unidirectional, and then 2 a biax layer. And again, that matches it. And I don't think a lot of people understand this, but you have a mirrored kind of composite layer above and beneath the core of a ski, and your stiffness of your ski works just like a steel I-beam. It's actually the relationship between those composite layers in a ski, thicker underfoot, thinner in the tip and tail, that makes the ski softer in the tip and stiffer underfoot. There's not actually more material in the tip than underfoot, it's just that the space between them is larger and therefore it creates rigidity. Tying that all together, we use a bio-based resin. It's the cleanest on the market. It's by no means perfect, but 30% of the chemicals that we use today are actually byproducts of other chemical processes. It's almost like recycling.
Yeah. And then the final ingredient is this super beautiful top sheet, which is blue at the front, and that's going to tie the whole thing together. So first step is
Cut
the shape and get
and then tack on some edges. Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Give the ski a form.
Let's do it, man. Jono told me to wear some old clothes for this, so I'm just, getting down to my old jacket here. This is being suctioned onto this jig, basically.
Yep, our master file for the 108.
And then we're going to use this router to trim off the excess.
The router with the bearing on the bottom, you're going to run it against the thing. I'll show you how to do it, I'll give you the tool and let you do it.
So that's the first base done. I didn't realise that we were just going to kind of like get straight in. You were just like, there's the router, off you go. I was like, okay, yeah. So
don't break it.
So first ski base done. That was super fun actually. I haven't used a router for a little while, but I think I did a reasonably good job.
Yeah, you did.
It looks alright. Okay, so we've clamped the edges onto the base now, and we just have to trim off the excess material.
Exactly.
So I presume you're going to do one so I can see it.
And
I'll do the other one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spark time. What'd you say?
I said I think it's better than your side actually.
It could be.
Basically, what's really happening is Jono's showing me what to do and I'm doing it, and it's a really fun process like that because it's like there's always this sort of safety net of the professionals there, which is great. But you also sell skis like direct to people as well, so you don't have to come here and build the ski.
No.
You can come here and build the ski, and it's super fun, and then you could get to ski them as well in Chamonix. So really cool experience, pretty unique, I think. I don't know
absolutely.
many other people that you can go and build skis with.
I'll
leave a link to his website down in the description, so you can check out his website.
Cool. So we've cut our edge to the correct length.
Yeah.
We've clamped it up against the base. And now we just need a way to hold it in position so that we can get into the press and apply the epoxy to it. So every 5 or 6 centimeters, we're just going to put a very, very small drop of super glue on it. And what I find is that you don't even have to push it. You just have to, if you touch onto the point, it'll drag it out, like on the spiky bit, exactly like that. Good work.
So that's going to be what the bottom of the ski looks like. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
First layer.
Good work.
Basically.
Very nice, Dave.
Exciting. So what we're going to do now, so these are basically the cores of the ski. So it's got the bamboo sidewalls on, right? And then this is the balsa and I forget the name of this. Albazia wood. So what are we doing here?
So the balsa by itself wouldn't be strong enough to hold your binding screws in. So what we're going to do is we're going to route out a groove, and then into that groove we're going to place 6 millimeters of bamboo reinforcing that piece. So
this is going to be what the binding screws are going into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so to do that accurately, we've got a jig which goes on the ski core, and we're going to use a router which is preset to the correct depth and run that on the inside of that form, clear out all that excess material, and then drop that in. There you go. Get Dave trying to work out how to put the mask on. Nice.
Locked and loaded.
Nailed it.
Remember what I said about if you nick the inside of the mold there, just lightly? Should they okay?
I've broken it already.
You might have to flip it over there. There's a side that works better, but one of them definitely works better than the other.
Beauty. Oh, these cores are so light.
Ridiculous, huh?
It's amazing.
I want to make them perfectly flat, right? You can feel that there's a bit of a step, like it might only be 0.1 or 2 of a millimeter. But we're actually going to send them through the thickness planer and up and just skim 1 mil or half a mil off the top of the core to bring it down to the level of the bamboo so that they're actually perfectly flush.
Now I'll take my name off there as well.
Indeed.
Okay.
I want to now thin the core to give it its flex profile, so we need to remove a bunch of material. And I don't want to lose the thickness that we have in our bamboo reinforcing. So we're going to actually flip the cores over and remove the material from the bottom of it. So the stiffness of the ski, or the pattern, its profile, comes from removing material in the tip and tail and leaving extra material underfoot. And the way that we do that is I have an inverse profile of what I want to achieve with the ski, right? So each ski in the Ronin lineup, 108 and 185, has its own master jig profile. And as you can see, it's thick up front, thin underfoot, and thicker in the tail. So what we're going to do is we're going to put your core on top of that, and then we're going to feed that through a thickness planer, and it's going to bring it to 0 or flat. And so it will remove more material up here where it's been lifted, less material underfoot where it's lower, and more in the tail.
Got it. So, and then the sandpaper on here just holds that in place.
It just stops it from sliding off of the jig. And we're just going to pass it through. The balsa is very fragile, so we're going to do many passes of around 1 or 2 millimeters.
Yeah.
So, but we'll do that now. All right.
Nice.
Cool.
So what's the next step here?
Okay, so we need to trim away excess core material in both the tip and the tail and replace it with impact resistant plastics.
So when you're like putting the skis on the ground, it's
Yep.
not going to crack the wood core? Yeah.
Exactly, so you can bounce it on the tail piece, and then the tip we're going to put ABS plastic, and with it, then we're also going to flip the core over and recess a small groove in the base of the ski or in the core of the ski so that that edge step, the metal edge, doesn't cause the base of the ski to become concave. So once we press it, if we didn't add this little groove, the skis would come out concave, and the grinding of the base would have to be like pretty extreme to get them perfectly flat. So we're going to do that, set them up, save as much plastic as we can.
Awesome. All right.
Cool.
Let's do it. Outside of line. Well, this is the wood core's finished. We just have to add the tip and tail ABS bits and put the binding inserts back in. But it's amazing how light these are. I mean, obviously it's balsa wood mostly, but I mean, what does one of those weigh? 459 grams.
You're going to cut that away.
So, Jono, can you just talk through what you're doing at the moment?
I am weighing out epoxy, and so pouring the initial epoxy and now the equivalent amount of hardener, and each layer in the ski has a very specific ratio of epoxy resin to, let's say, carbon or to flax, and so each of these cups is the exact amount that we need for the strongest possible bond and strength in our ski.
So this is it.
Yeah.
We're going to start putting it together, right?
Exactly. We're going to start our wet layer.
So these are the dowels that we put through the core that was through the binding insert, and that's so that we can line everything up in a minute when we lay everything up, right?
Exactly.
And we've got everything set up. We've got epoxy, we've got some under a little mini heater there, so that's staying at the right temperature. We've got a fan heater on as well, so that's that kind of noise in the background that you hear. And we're just going to start laying things up in.
Just put a light layer of epoxy on everything and then put it together like a sandwich.
Yeah, this is the exciting bit, I think. Or is it the pressing? I don't know, it's all exciting. No, the exciting bit is going to be skiing them.
I should hope so, man.
I'm trying to think, it smells a little bit like popcorn.
Dude, you're the second person who's said that. That's hilarious.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go in like that, and then as I work full length, what I want you to do is, without anything new, I just want you to go like that. Use that excess and work both sides there so that we have...
And I'm covering the whole base.
Exactly. We just want to make sure that we have an even... And all you're doing is making sure that it's wet. It doesn't have to be like super saturated. Exactly. VDS rubber. It's 0.2 millimeters thick, and your steel edges expand and contract as the ski gets warm. Like you're standing, sitting having lunch, and your ski's up in the sun, the metal expands, and then you go skiing moments later and it gets cold and contracts. And so what we do is we actually put a layer of this above the steel edge so that the metal can expand and contract without cracking permanently the bond with the epoxy. So it starts delaminations on those layers. It's actually, you wouldn't guess it, but it's porous in nature, and it creates an incredible bond. So the way that I like to do this, we're going to cover that edge, right? And all you want to do is just make sure that the metal's covered. You don't have to hold it, it's fine. You're not pulling hard, we're just laying it down. So now we're going to use the squeegees.
Okay.
A little bit more fun than the rollers, in my opinion. Same thing. If you can characterize squeegeeing versus rollering as fun.
I've always preferred squeegees to rollers personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thin layer of carbon, so we actually don't need to flip this one over like we did with the flax, and we're just going to work in sections, breaking it up into thirds, and I will show you the squeegee technique. Doing good, Dave.
I feel like I'm not doing much, but it's still fun to be part of the process. It's like it's being enough part of the process that it's fun, but not having to think about the process
too much.
So it's not stressful.
Excellent. So you're not terrified that you break your skis?
Yeah, and if I didn't want to do any of it, I could just let you do it.
You could, I guess. I'd like to add a little bit of rigidity through the whole of Dave's ski. We thickened the core up appropriately, but I want to add some more flax and carbon through it. And because you described the sensation of wanting to be like kicked out of your turns with a bit of energy, like the ski follow you through and then eject you, we're going to add a little section in the tail of the ski specifically so that the ratio is slightly stiffer back there, right? Okay, and the bamboo is kind of the same as the balsa, if not more. So, on top of the bamboo, we're going to lay more VDS rubber for increased bonding, and it'll also absorb vibration. So the VDS is 2 cm, the bamboo is 6, so just start on the outside edge and put them next to each other.
Wait. Oh, 1. I was like, where's the number?
Like, what? Who am I?
Like how whenever I do something, Jono's already done like it twice as fast.
Started beyond the tail of the ski. You tell me when you're down.
A 2 centimetre overlap that way.
Or even 1, whatever. Very little though. Okay?
Okay. Many layers.
So many to this now.
Like an onion.
Line it up with that, mate. And just try to put the triangles in the center of the ski. So grab that and let it fall just to your hand. When you do the alignment, so keep it up in the air position, you just cover the whole ski. It's the most important thing. Happy?
I think so.
Nice. As long as everything's covered, it's fine. And you can just give it a bit of a rub. If anything is wrong underneath, would forget. Nothing sticking out. On top.
So we've just done the laying up of the whole ski. We've put all the layers, the epoxy, the top sheet, the core, the base, the edges. It's all together, encased in this metal now.
Right.
What's the next step here? Like, we've got this. This is the press, obviously. So it's made of big I-beam girders. And what? Can you talk me through the rest of it?
Right. So we've got your cavity, which we're going to slide the skis into now.
So in here, underneath these metal rods? Or?
Yep. So help me, Dave, lift it onto the press for 1 second, and I'll explain exactly what's going on. We've got the rocker, the tip and tail rocker profile here, as well as the camber block set up in the press. We're going to now move your ski and all its components onto that. And the yellow that you can see here is a silicone heat blanket. The epoxy, although it's starting to set now, really needs to be pressed above 65 degrees to cure properly. So we'll slip that in, push it into the press, and then the compressor is going to fill hoses, which will then put 6 bar of pressure from here, pushing the aluminium cap track down onto the top of the cassette that you've got here, giving uniform pressure throughout the ski. And then we're going to heat it up to 65 degrees Celsius and let it sit there for an hour and 15 minutes before turning it off, leaving the pressure on, and letting it cool overnight.
Got it, yeah. So basically, inside here, you might not be able to see there's a kind of a bladder that's going to fill with air, and that's what's going to create the pressure against these 2 big solid beams. Cool. Let's slip her in.
And we can 1, 2, 3, slide her in.
So we're lining it up, boot center, yeah. So we've just finished, we've put it in the press. It's going to cook for an hour, hour and 15, something like that?
Hour 15.
And then how long do you leave it in the press for?
I leave it overnight, so I'll turn the temperature off and let it slowly cool down, but leave the pressure on.
Yeah.
It just means that there's no chance of anything going wrong because of temperature changes quickly. So really gradual cool down, give us our best results.
Once it comes out of there, there's some final touches to do, and we're probably going to leave that for another video. Yeah, it's basically like trimming the edges down and beveling the edge, and then finishing the bases and edges, and that's the sort of finished product then, right?
Exactly.
So we'll leave that for another video. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found that interesting, and I certainly really enjoyed hanging out for the day and building a set of skis, and I'm super excited to actually get to ski these. So thanks very much, Jono, for giving me the opportunity to do this. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you go down there, hit that subscribe button. That's really going to help my channel out. Give us a thumbs up and let me know what you think about this process of building skis in the comments. Cheers guys, see you next time.